while I have always been a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo fan, I have had a soft spot for its contemporary, the Impreza WRX. Well, now it's just WRX. But today, we'll do something a little different. We're going to give you double WRX. Now, these two cars need very little introduction. These are examples of the Subaru WRX. They have dropped the Impreza name since, I think, 2014, when that generation came out. Now, we have two examples here, one in black, one in orange. And we want to talk about the design, but do you really want me to talk about the design? Because everyone already has opinions about the design of the WRX, particularly with the front and with all that black cladding. Personally, I'm not really a fan, but it's really up to you. It does give it a contrast, a very striking contrast, especially with the cladding on the wheel arches. Now, what we think is that Subaru is going for something more functional with the look of the WRX, because if you are rallying or if you're going on dirt, then black cladding on the wheel arches is going to help protect the paint. At least that's how I'm seeing it. But when we see it in black though, like, whoa, it looks really good, because now instead of the super contrast like this one, a lot of the unpainted black cladding kind of blends in. If anything, it really does look like a stealth fighter. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the look of this sedan from Subaru. But of course, we've got the hood scoop right here, the very sharp headlights, this grille right here, it does look nice. It's kind of finished in a gunmetal gray kind of thing. The wheels, well, check it out. What do you think of the wheels on this one? These are 18s and they've got SP Sport Max tires. Very, very nice for handling. The side profile, of course, this is a sedan. I've already reviewed the wagon version before. This one is the one that's a bit more classic when it comes to the WRX here in the Philippine market. Let's go check out the back and see what it looks like. When I reviewed the WRX Wagon, I remember liking the rear design of that vehicle. But when it comes to the WRX Sedan, well, I'm not so sure. Because while I do like the inner detail of these taillights with the crystal pattern there, looks really nice, the way it actually fits onto the rear and actually how it completes it, I'm not too sure. And also the shape of the taillights, it does compromise the opening of the trunk lid. I'll show you later. But what really sticks out is what's really sticking out right there, the rear bumper. Because here, not so obvious. Here, it's really, really front and center and rear. It really reminds me of, I don't know, J-Lo.
Oh God, Ty! What? Man.
Now, you tell me what you think of the rear of the WRX. Now let's pop the trunk. Right, now with the trunk open, you can see the effect that the taillight has on the opening of the trunk. It does restrict it by quite a bit compared to, let's say, if they just made it kind of straight over here. But still, in terms of space, it's got about 38 inches in length, or at least in depth going this way, 42 inches wide at the narrowest point between the wheel arches, and 55 inches wide at the widest point here. So it should fit a golf set. But it does have a nice trick up its sleeve, which when I open this, when we open that, these seats actually fold down 60-40 style. Well, this is the 40, the 60 is over there. And when you do fold it down, you can fit items that are up to 62 inches, fully supported by the rear seat. You can go a little bit further, but it really is up to you if you want to carry that much stuff in your WRX. What's really important with Subaru is safety. That's why you have a lot of safety features built into the WRX. It starts with the platform, the Subaru Global Platform. You've got anti-lock brakes, stability control, many airbags inside. But the biggest deal here, of course, is eyesight. It's a system meant to prevent road crashes by using these two cameras up here on the windshield. If your windshield is damaged or cracked and you need a replacement, then we highly suggest you contact our friends over at Aguila Autoglass. Aguila is a family-owned company that has been in the business since the 1950s. Yes, For over 70 years, Aguila has been serving customers with premium auto glass for all of their automobile needs. They now have 25 dealers nationwide, and they pride themselves in taking care of customers just like family. Aguila has over 8,000 different types of auto glass for all kinds of makes and models. You know what? Let's put it to the test. Let's call Aguila Auto Glass. Hello, Aguila. Meron kayong windshield para sa 2023 WRX?
Yes, sir. Meron po tayo. Meron din po tayong window glass and back glass. Available din po for other car brands.
Okay, good to know po. If magka-problema ako sa windshield ko, sa inyo po ako pupunta. Thank you. See? It's that easy. They stock all of these parts to make sure that you stay safe on the road. And Aguila, of course, is a very premium partner of AutoIndustriya, and they help me keep my reviews very honest and very unbiased. Now let's get on with it. When you pop the hood of any Subaru, the first thing you'll notice is that it doesn't look like anything else in the market unless maybe you pop the trunk of a Porsche. Now, powering this vehicle is a 2.4-liter turbocharged direct injection gasoline engine. It's mated to a CVT. Of course, it has all-wheel drive. And of course, it has the top mount intercooler right here, which makes this hood scoop very much functional, not just aesthetic. In terms of power, this has 275 PS and 350 Newton meters of torque. It's not that much more than the previous model with a 2-liter, the F820 DIT, but being that it's a larger engine, larger displacement engine, producing a little bit more power, it means, well, theoretically, it's not as stressed as before. They're not pumping out too much power per liter, well, giving it, I guess, more breathing space, and should be actually more receptive to mods and tunes and all that kind of stuff if you want to do that. It's a fairly neat engine bay. Of course, they don't really try to cover anything up. Now, let's go inside. If you're stepping into the 2023 WRX from any of the previous ones, then the interior will look very different. First off though, everything seems to be better put together. The materials seem to be a lot better than before with the leather pad here. Oh, nice and soft touch. The materials, soft touch. Well, not here, but here, soft touch. Here, plastic. But it all looks good. It all looks very well put together. Now, it still seems busy. Subaru did not really try to go for a minimalist type of look here, but what they did do was consolidate or actually declutter the dashboard. If you've seen the previous ones, the dashboard seemed a bit busier than this one, which is kind of strange to say. But the steering wheel has quite a few more buttons already. Audio controls, the cruise control, the adaptive cruise control. You've got your mode for the SI drive right here. So you can see it adjusts over up there. So intelligent, sport, and then sport sharp. The control for the multi-info display is down here, but the steering wheel feels nice. You've got still analog gauges there, which look really good. Subaru didn't really go for the full digital screens kind of appeal, even though they did do it over here. Now, onto this side. When we actually look at the screen, it seems similar to the one in the Ford Everest and then even the Ford Ranger. It's got an iPad-like screen, and we do like how Subaru did theirs. Although, one thing we did notice is when you drive it around and it's like very sunny, the light will reflect off of this, kind of making it dark and hard to see sometimes. So you have to adjust the brightness. But it's a good screen. We wish it was a bit, better when it comes to the angling of it, because it's a bit canted like that. But it's easy to get used to because you got climate control down here. It's the tap kind for the fan speed. You have buttons, physical buttons for your temperature control, knobs for your volume and tune. Not to really use tune anymore now. It does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can plug in through here, through any of these USB ports. You can control a lot of the functions previously controlled by buttons on this side. If you look beside the driver's knee, this panel here, normally there would be a lot more buttons here in previous generations of the WRX, or at least the previous one with eyesight. Yes, eyesight. So this one, it's very much decluttered. There it is. There's that menu. Now when you go through the many eyesight features, it's all here, which really does make sense because it kind of, you remove all the buttons and then you make it as part of the main screen. You control it here before you drive. One thing I noticed is that if you have a phone like as big as this one, this is a Xiaomi 12, there's no real good place to put it because normally you'd put it here. By the way, there's a 12-volt outlet, 2 USB ports, and an aux in port. I mean, oddly enough, auxiliary in. But if you try to put your phone there while you're plugged into this, you see it kind of sticks out there. It's not really, doesn't really fit there. There's also a pocket here, which if you notice, my phone doesn't fit either. So there's really no good place for it apart from here or the driver's door handle over on this side. So keep that in mind. You have your gear selector, well, not really a gear selector. You have your transmission control lever here. So it's PRND and then manual right there. But the manual of this one does not have a plus or minus here. It's just a gate. What that does is it activates the paddle shifters for you. So when you have it in manual, you have to use the paddles. So keep that in mind. When you do put the vehicle into SI drive, into Sport Sharp, the paddles will automatically activate, so you have to use those. If you have it in Sport, you can have it in D and then just drive normally. You can also override with the paddles, however you want to drive it. Electronic parking brake here. Got center armrest, but there's no charging ports or anything there. There's 2 in the back. But overall, it's a nice place to be in. The seat, it really holds you nicely in place. And you know, for a wider guy like me, it even fits very, very well. Now let's go out and see how the WRX performs. Every conversation about Subaru, particularly the WRX, should really start with the WRC, the World Rally Championships, which Subaru entered in. Actually, at one point, they dominated it. Now, they did start out with the Legacy, and they tuned that to be able to compete in the championships and actually, do very, very well. Under that team, the Subaru World Rally team, they won many, many championships with legendary drivers like Peter Solberg, Colin McRae, and one more, I'm missing one more, Richard Burns. They used their experience in WRC to translate or to at least to test the technologies for their road cars. And a lot of that you will see in the WRX. That is why this car is so popular amongst tuners and boy racers. And well, given that it's International Women's Month right now, I should say just racers. So especially my friend Nat, she really loves the WRX because Subaru, of course, they really work on the all-wheel drive system. They engineer it from the ground up to be as best handling as possible, with having the engine down low, have symmetrical all-wheel drive, meaning it's symmetrical left to right. So when you're driving it around, when you're cornering left, cornering right, the balance should be there. Of course, me being in the driver's seat on the left side, it would affect that. But still, they're giving you the best chance from the very start to have good handling. You know what? Enough talk. Let's take it back to our warehouse and I'll show you how this handles on our Autocross. So we're back at our warehouse and we're going to put the WRX through our mini course. It's our first time having an all-wheel drive here, so let's give it a shot. Let's do it.
Ready, Vince?
Ready?
Timer starts now.
We're in sport mode, so... Whoa! Oh, it's quick. And it's a little bit rainy. Having to brake a little bit early because it's a little bit loose out here, but it's okay. Went a little bit over the braking zone. What do we do?
47.68.
Wow, that's pretty quick. The Subaru Impreza WRX, I keep calling it Impreza. The Subaru WRX is now the fastest car on our Autocross. I mean, not that we've put so many cars on there, but hey, the Civic RS was pretty quick on that course. But it also shows the advantages of the all-wheel drive system. I'm just able to power out of the corners very, very easily. It feels very sure-footed. The braking was actually really great. The steering, well, not really fantastic. There's not much feel in here, but at least when you push it, when you turn it, it goes exactly where you want to go. It just doesn't really communicate with you like a classic hydraulic power steering unit. But that notwithstanding, it shows how good the system actually is. And that's what Subaru was really developing in their time in the WRC. However, they're already moving past the WRC experience, that heritage. I mean, yes, they still have it, but if you go around a dealership back in, let's say, the 2000s, you'll see probably a wall that shows an Impreza WRC, which is what they were actually competing with, right there, you know, slipping and sliding and looking all cool. Now, probably not, because Subaru has already moved on. They're turning that experience into not just a marketing thing that like win on Sunday, sell on Monday kind of thing. They're turning it really into a proper road car. You know, they're using the same technologies they developed to make a better handling road car, a safer car. For example, the control afforded by an all-wheel drive system, yes, it does make the car faster around the bends, but it also gives you sure-footedness when you're driving around with your family. The same steering, the same kind of characteristics that make it handle also make it safer because you're able to dodge things very, very easily, very quickly, and very safely. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm not really a big fan of autonomous driving features, but I have to say the one in the Subaru is really good. It's called Eyesight, of course. I've showed you that before, the 2 cameras up here. They even improved it because it's now flush with the windshield. Before, something can actually block it. So if you have, like, let's say someone doing a tint, you can actually end up blocking the camera, and it's not good. In this one, you can't anymore because it's very flush there, and actually really, really works. Now, this is like one of those times where when it comes to autonomous features, I normally turn off a lot of these things because they can be disturbing. In this one, no. I've never found the need to turn off everything just, you know, to feel like I'm actually driving the car. The letters W, R, and X stand for World Rally Experimental. I mean, I've mentioned this many times before. You can Google that, no problem. But it brings up a topic for discussion about this car where who is it really for? Because it's no longer experimental. I would clearly argue that. It's no longer an experimental World Rally car because for one, they're no longer in the WRC. And two, it's become more of a road car. It's become more comfortable. Clearly, I can drive this on EDSA, no problem. Same with the wagon version I drove earlier. It's not like the STI before, you know, STI rip. But this one is kind of more of a road car already. It's like an STI Lite, not really STI Lite, but it's more of a road car already. It's not something you would compete with, especially with this transmission. And the transmission is the thing that I would really want changed or upgraded with the next generation of the WRX, because they do offer a 6-speed manual, but I think a lot of the people who are going to go for the CVT because for everyday use, it's just more comfortable. That's really the advantage of having an automated transmission. It's certainly better than the 4-speed auto they had before in older WRX automatics. But again, could be better because when it comes to response, like right now I'm in intelligent mode, takes a little while. It's not as direct, it's not as brutal as you would want it to be, especially in a car such as this. Now you do have the sport modes and the sport sharp mode in this one to give you that functionality, or at least that response that you would want. But still, a CVT, I don't know, I think they should have gone for a DCT. I still think they should talk to the transmission manufacturers about engineering a DCT, a good DCT for them, for a WRX application. I mean, Mitsubishi did do it with the Evo. Actually, the competitor of this one would not be the older Evo 10. It would have been the Lancer Rally Art, which I really, really like. It was a nice and balanced car all throughout. But the real advantage of the CVT is fuel efficiency. Even me in the city, just driving it around, getting around 7.3 kilometers per liter, pretty good. On the highway, it's getting around 13.5. That's if I'm just driving casually. But still, I would contend that a car like the WRX, the way it strikes me with the way it drives, it behaves on the road, yes, I like it for everyday use, but I get the feeling that it's trying to please too many people. It's trying to please a committee, actually. Like one department wants it to be more comfortable, one department wants it to be stylish. Well, let's see if they actually hit that mark with the design of this. One wanted it really, really safe. One wanted it to have leather and all that stuff, all the luxury features. And they did deliver. But I would contend that a car like the WRX, even the WRX, not just the STI, which again, RIP, should be pure. In the sense that, or at least try to be as pure as possible, given how cars have evolved now, even performance cars. Because I'm finding quite a few compromises that I would like addressed. But that's just me. That's just me talking as a driving enthusiast. And that's the thing. A car like WRX is bought by enthusiasts. It actually should be marketed towards enthusiasts. But we're not seeing too many of them on the road, unfortunately. Maybe it's also a unit issue, but that's the thing with a car like this, a WRX. It's becoming niche. Actually, it's always been niche. If anything, it's just becoming super niche because compact cars, it's the actual compact car itself is becoming niche, unlike before. Because before, a compact car would be the standard of our market. That would be the big seller. But as time went on, compact cars became superseded by crossovers. If you can tell by looking at the sales numbers here in the Philippines, I think the Corolla Altis only sold less than 1,000 units last year. Maybe that's also a chip issue, but if you look at the crossovers, there's so many more of them. If you look at the PPV, there's so many more of them. So it's really the crossovers where all these things can be applied. I mean, can you imagine if Subaru applied the WRX technology and performance into a crossover? They did do it with the Forester XT, but that's gone, unfortunately. But can you imagine if they put the same kind of drivetrain and performance into an XV or a Crosstrek? They should call it WRXV. That sounds like a radio station. Without a doubt, the Subaru Impreza Sedan is an enjoyable car, and Subaru Philippines is offering 3 variants. The lowest one is the 6-speed manual, which is something I would actually prefer to drive on a weekend. There's also a higher grade variant, which is the TS, which has more goodies like adaptive suspension, for example. These two are the mid-grade variants with eyesight and with a CVT, right between the manual and the TS version. It offers kind of a good balance between the two. Now, in terms of the driving, like I mentioned earlier, steering, not a big fan of, but the handling, the traction, the power, I do like, and it does feel very, very nice on the expressway. But really, the issue with Subaru is with the design department. Now, it's not to say that it's a bad design, well, maybe it depends on you, but it would be nice if Subaru can come up with a WRX that really everyone can kind of get behind in the same way that everyone got behind the Lancer Evo 10. That for me is kind of the standard for a rally-bred performance car you can use every day. Now I know some of you are gonna say that, hey, you don't buy Subarus for the design, you buy it for the power, the traction, so on and so forth. That is true. But wouldn't it be nice if that vehicle actually looked really good to all of us? Because if it looked really good, well, I would not mind plunking down $2.758 million for this variant. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com. Thanks for watching.